One of my favorite stories to tell about the medieval papacy concerns Boniface VIII, who ruled from 1294 to 1303. In July of 1294, the cardinals gathered together to elect a new pope. The mood of the cardinals was such that they wanted to elect a more spiritual leader to guide the church. And so they thought of Peter of Moroni, who actually lived as a hermit in a cave in southern Italy. And so the cardinals had to climb up the mountain and enter into the cave to beg Peter to leave his monastic life and come down into the world to rule the church, which by now was a very wealthy political institution. After the cardinals pleaded with Peter, he agreed. He had descended from the cave, but he would not travel all the way to Rome. Instead, he established his papacy at the Palace of Naples. And there he constructed a monastic cell. And when he entered into Naples, he was barefoot and rode on a donkey to receive the papal crown under the name of Celestine V. Now, Celestine insisted on building a monastic cell in the palace, and from there he attempted to conduct the very complicated business of the papacy. Soon the cardinals were dismayed by his naive mismanagement, and something must be done about this spiritualist in the role of a monarch. One cardinal was Benedict Gaetani, and he fashioned a speaking tube, and at night he inserted it into Celestine's cell, and he spoke, "Abdicate, abdicate, or suffer the flames of hell." Well, after only 15 weeks, Celestine had enough, and he abdicated. So guess who became the next pope? Sure enough, it was Benedict Gaetani, who became Pope Boniface VIII. Benedict rode a white horse to his coronation, and soon he imprisoned Celestine so that he would not interfere. When Celestine entered the prison, he said to Boniface, "You have entered like a fox, you will reign like a lion, and you will die like a dog." Well, in fact, those words proved to be true. Benedict's papacy was not spiritual, but materialistic. He abused his power by selling some church offices and filling others with his friends and family. He mounted holy wars against his political rivals. Boniface attempted to assert papal power into the military affairs of England and France, but he succeeded only in incurring the wrath of the French king Philip IV. Philip was called the Fair, but he wasn't. His henchmen kidnapped Boniface, tortured him, and even paraded him through the streets backwards on a horse. Even after he was released, his torture and humiliation brought about his death a month later. Then his enemies circulated the rumor that he had committed suicide. Remember what Celestine said? He entered like a fox, he reigned like a lion, and he died like a dog. Well, in the aftermath of Boniface's corrupt papacy, the French king orchestrated the election of a pro-French pope who moved the papal residency to Avignon on the border of France, and thus began the 70-year Avignon papacy, or the Babylonian captivity of the church. As Gregory VII began the ascent and Innocent III reached the summit, so Boniface VIII descended the foothills of papal power. Boniface's corrupt papacy was one of a series of events that led to further corruption in the papal institution. The Avignon papacy, the Great Papal Schism, the Renaissance popes. Ultimately, all this led to the need and the demand for the Reformation of the Church.